Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So yeah, so we'll get into that as well. But like I said, we'll get into some of these political topics or finish up some of the just a little highlight some of the things that we were going into just to kind of hit it off. It looks like we were talking a little bit about some of the countdown to the polling and some of the election context that we had yesterday. So, with politics, did mention as far as the 2026 election update, setting sights on as far as key contests, governor, attorney general, legislator, and congressional seats. The state's spring primary is scheduled for August 11th, 2026, with the general election for November 3rd, 2026. So put that on your calendars if you do need that. Again, the governor, attorney general, legislator, and congressional seats. That's the state's spring election. Spring's primary is scheduled for August 11th, 2026, and the general election will be November 3rd, 2026. We also have another big, I guess, looks like there was a Marquette poll insights from Wist Opinion Insider segment. Former state legislator Chuck Chavala and Scott Jensen unpacked their latest Marquette law poll examining public impressions of state budget issues, especially as a legislator rushes to finalize the last minute. I know we were talking about that a little bit yesterday. As you can see, we were mentioning how the governor Evers did sign a $99 billion, right? $99, right? Biennial budget with 23 partial vetoes, fewer than usual. That was focusing on middle income tax cuts, um, a boost to UW system funding, which we would like to see, all across the board. I would love, to continue to see the growth down at UWM and just of course the other UW system schools across the state. $125 million for hospital stabilization, including local health networks in southeastern Wisconsin, which be highly beneficial for the people around here. We got a lot of people, of course, we know in our community that could use that extra help. What was missed in the bill was the I-94 expansion study was excluded, prompting criticism from suburban leaders. So I guess I know that been a lot of moves and speaking about that as well. As far as mental health and healthcare, attorney Josh Call is suing the Trump administration over cuts to federal mental health grants that support schools and community providers, calling the move a awful policy. So, yeah, we were just speaking about that just yesterday as a team at a training. Once I got off the air, we were speaking about the lack of mental health care, and we were talking to one of our partners,
Okay.
and he has an individual that he has got into having residents and having a caretaking for people with mental health care, and he was stating that he had a person that was staying with him, and it was looking like this individual, the only reason he may have some certain types of mental health setbacks was when I guess he didn't get I guess he went like 3 months or more. I don't know if he
Mm-hmm.
said 3 months or 6 months without his
Well, the
medication.
medication.
So he was asking the people that was connected to him, I guess, that work with him. He was like, how do I know if he's having some setbacks or going through something? He said that he would start showing like signs of drinking excessive coffee, or he got to the point where I guess he would just drink the coffee grinds, or he would just have the grinds mixed in with water. So it's certain signs that as you being, and for us in Milwaukee who have people that deal with mental health care and deal with mental health issues, make sure you are paying attention to the small signs, and inform yourself
Okay.
and educate yourself. So you know him being aware of this guy and his situation, I guess what happened was that he ended up getting them to one place, and they end up treating him, or I guess supposedly supposed to treat him,
Mm.
and he ended up leaving.
Did he leave on his own,
Yeah,
or
and that's the issue. Yeah.
so they didn't even try to, try to,
hmm Uh,
keep him there,
yeah, or
or
speak to his
yeah,
caretaker, which was one of our
right.
partners through the organization. So he said that the guy ended up pretty much was out in the streets,
Wow.
and he ended up seeing him on his camera, and this walking back and forth in the neighborhood. So he ended up bringing them in, getting them back inside. Then he ended up taking them somewhere else. And from my recollection, from what he said, he's that after he took him somewhere else, the same process happened.
They just let him go.
Yeah, they did the treatment and whatever the case may be, and they released them. So
Do
that's the
you?
thing. That's something that that could be a a hole in the process is when we're taking care of people, especially in the city of Milwaukee. When we see it, you mean
Right,
you, we
right,
all ride around, we see
right.
mental
We
health.
see it every day, every 24 hours a day.
Yes, mental health concerns all
Yeah,
across the city.
yeah.
So that may be something that we need to look at as well, as far as the process, to make sure that people that care for these individuals, because we see it all the time in stories. I watch stories and crime stories. People leave in places and they disappear and they end up never being found again, or something tragically happens to them. When you having psychosis issues
Right.
on whatever level, even if you just having a trip and you ain't got nothing really wrong with you out the gate, and then something just happens to you, you can just snap. You can wander off into a space, you can go off into traffic, you can go off into a river, lakes, and
Right.
things like that. And if nobody has the proper notification, it just seems like it's a basic loophole that needs to be
Let me
fixed.
ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Uh, how do you a person that ain't never deal with mental health
Mm-hmm.
and they get around some person they don't know how to like you said how to control it, what to know the
Yeah.
sign,
Yeah.
but then maybe some of them places where they put them at,
Mm-hmm.
they probably people probably just scared, because
The people that work
they
there.
action, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Instead of having somebody that know, they probably just let them go.
You think it's people that may be working in these places, from what I'm getting what you're
Yeah,
saying, is you think
yeah.
it might be people working in these places that
They
may not even
they
be
scared of the
fully
person,
equipped.
right?
Well,
Because the way the person act, they
yeah.
might get agitated,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
just like, well, just let them go,
Yeah.
just let them go,
Yeah, and that could be the case.
Yeah,
We see it in schools.
right,
We see it in the correction centers and services. We see it in places we go every
right,
day. People
every
that
day,
don't know how to deal with the public. I've had jobs and worked in places where people shouldn't have worked in those positions, whether they didn't know how to respond to the students or the youth or the juveniles that we were working with, or the adults that we were working with.
right.
Some people just don't match up with certain positions. You may think that's your career lineup, but then that's you just having to, you know, uh, do a self-assessment and be like, yeah, this is not the job for me. But yeah, some people may just not know. Some people
Right.
just they don't fully complete their
Cause
job, because I wouldn't feel right just letting a person on the streets
yeah, because it's
in that mental space.
yeah, because like you said, he took him to one place,
Yeah, and they let them
then
go.
the second place.
And
So
they let
my
them go.
thing is, what that is, I think they just people just like their work. They just scared. They just don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So when the person act out, they just like, well, you know,
What do y'all think? We got a call. Go ahead and let's take the call real quick and see, maybe we get some answers. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. How you doing?
Good morning. I love your program today. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I know people in society, and I have family members that's been dealing with mental ill issues. You know, I know folks that used to work at the A-frame at the complex, and they changed the whole trajectory on how they deal with things. Families used to be able to take someone to the mental health complex, and they would evaluate them and talk to the family. But now you have to get a three-party petition, and it's hard to get a lot of times get three folks together to deal with someone who's dealing with mental health. You know, mental health is very vital in our community these days, and people of color don't address it. Like well, I can say us because I'm one of us that we don't address it as strongly as we should, but society has made it very difficult. So when you get a person in to get some help, they'll sit there, they'll get them on their meds, and then all of a sudden, because they said they have rights, they just let them right. They just let them back out on the streets, because they said they. But my problem with this situation is that
Mm-hmm.
if the person has major mental illness
Yeah.
issues, and then they say, okay, they have rights, but they don't have a power of attorney, and they allow them to walk right back out of there on the streets, and they're not taking their meds. They don't have a caseworker, no one to follow up with them, and now we got a problem because they're out here
I agree.
begging at the gas stations
I
and
agree.
doing things, and they really don't have their mind is not set to be able to contain themselves and maintain themselves in the community.
Yeah.
So I think the law, they really need to work on that now so that the family can help you better, because they made it very, very, very difficult. If you ever had to go try to get a three-party petition to help a family member, you know, it's discouraging.
Yeah.
It's very discouraging.
Yeah. I've
So
heard. Yeah.
we need to work on that.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I had a coworker or a lady that, and thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate that. I had a coworker who came through while I was working with, and her daughter was going through some issues, and she was just saying how hard it was for her to have to get some type of control or get some type of assistance within keeping her daughter in a space where she can get some help because her daughter would disappear. And these are things that, you know, like you said, this is something with the accountability on our behalf, as you know, helping out people in these spaces, you know, helping out the elderly in these spaces. I know they do caretakers for, you know, the elderly, and they have case managers in certain spaces for, you know, the teens and the, you know, some of the situations going on with the teens. And, you know, one of my sisters, she works in that. Shout out to Nikayla. She does her thing working with young adults. I mean, young the adolescents and teens in Milwaukee, doing their thing and help it out. And everybody else that I know that's in social work fields and all across the board that's doing their thing. God bless y'all, and thank y'all for doing what y'all do, because we know the work and we know how serious and how sensitive this work is, working with the community in this space. But you see that there needs to be, like he said, there needs to be a better space with case managers, a crisis team, like some of my people that's out here working. You need to give some of these brothers like Montreal a bigger contract so he can hire, you know, more folks and be able to bring in more folks to come help and have these teams. He can't just do every late night call by himself. You know, that's Marcio Kane from Mira. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, any of the other folks I know. You know, you got a young lady, and a couple young ladies, Shawan Kennedy and Shaquan Jefferson. They work with Kennedy Wellness, if y'all interested in this space as well. These are young and up and coming mental health professionals. You know, you got people all across the city that are in these mental health spaces, but they can't do all the work. We need this money put out into the community so we can get folks be able to contract in and be able to have this support. Because if you don't want to just be officially regulated by some type of law enforcement, everything just be a crazy call to a young teen, a young adult cop who doesn't know how to respond to these situations, where you need to invest in the folks that know, that are trained for these situations. Looks like we got another caller, huh? Caller, you are Be a Voice Radio, Wisconsin Voices. Good morning.
Good morning, man. This is Rick calling you from Germany.
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Good to hear from you from Germany.
I just want to say that I have been smeared as mentally ill, but there's also a great need for mental health services in the Black community. I come from Washington, D.C., and even though I'm calling you from Germany, I was there in D.C. when Ronald Reagan closed not only St. Elizabeth's Hospital, but mental hospital, but mental hospitals across the country, and people couldn't get services. Young men, aggressive, violent, and young people depressed. Um, so Trump is in the White House now, and mental health services are going to take a hit. And I think kudos go out to all of those Black people who are in the business of serving the Black community through social work and mental health services. I'm done, brother man.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Greg, calling from Germany. Thank you again. And as you can see, it's so important. I mean, it's touched people in my family. You know, I got a aunt that lives in Texas that, you know, I mean, her approach to things is pretty interesting. You know, you learn to deal with her the way that you can. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but you know, she's not, you know, one of the only ones I've seen. I've had it touch closer just because it's, you know, traumatic things. Sometimes things happen in life.
But you know, well, you know, I think to me, I was talking to my wife about it. I said, sometimes no matter how hard with the mental health, how hard get people on the right nail to get them going.
Mhm.
Try to get them out of that.
Mhm.
Help them.
Mhm.
But it seemed like to me, I always say, I think people just like the way. I think they just want to go back to that sometime.
Mm.
I just
You feel like
it's kind of confusing to me.
you
Like
feel
you could put them up, set them up, and then they be doing good, and all of a sudden they just ease back into it. Like
yeah.
they just miss,
Yeah. But that's
being out there.
that's when that person needs that repetition in their
Yeah.
life from something or somebody. Like, I got a real good one of the guys I went to high school with, white dude, cool brother. Um he's about a year younger than me. Yeah, we can go ahead and take the break right after this. What he did was, man, he's very open with his mission. He said he was suicidal, he was going through things, and what happened with him was just being able to get back in the gym, get back working out, having that sense of purpose, having that had doing something that you
Doing
love. And
something.
sometimes what happens with us, we can drive ourselves crazy by just the smallest things, by not just taking care of the most basic needs of ourselves. But then of course we know we got the real mental health issues
Right.
and a little deeper that but yeah, I just wanted to say that it's important, and hopefully that the state and legislators and everybody can figure out a way to put more into. All right. Go ahead and take a break right here on Be a Voice Radio with Scott. Voice of the You back? You back? You back? Yeah. People's Radio Wisconsin voices. Bryan Sanders here speaking. What's happening, y'all? We back talking about these conversations with these politics because this stuff matters to us and it matters to us as a whole for our city. Just kind of going into a few more things within the state budget and infrastructure. Prison overcrowding and reform was mentioned. You know, we are highly impacted. If you don't know, Milwaukee is the highest rated incarceration for Black males in the country, specifically out of 53206 zip code. So it's important for us to know about these things, man, and what they trying to do with our, folks that have been, incarcerated, whether it's for something they've done,
Little.
in any space. Staggering stats on that: Wisconsin prison population has surged past 23,000, exceeding capacity by over 5,000 inmates. Seen an 11 increase since 2021. So that's adding to what we was talking about, the rate right there, and hearing about the rate. And mental health and substance issues: 42% of incarcerated men have been diagnosed with mental illnesses lately. 72% of those on supervision need substance abuse treatment. That was from WisconsinWatch.org, pbswisconsin.org. As far as the attempts for reform, and we work with some organizations. Just a shout out, Believers in Change, Dream.org. Shout out Expo. And then just some individuals in the community that's doing their thing on that level, like Ray Mendoza, and just even some of the people that's in the spaces in the community with our board president as well, Shannon. So you got individuals across the organization, across the Milwaukee within organizations that are fighting every day. And I've been to these sessions for Dream.org, and they're doing their thing. They're bringing in people. They're bridging the gaps in spaces, bringing in people to speak about agents, and understanding the probation process and things like that. So that type of conversation is highly important for our people, so we get an understanding of what's going on and some of the changes. But the attempts at the reform bipartisan legislation aims to shift people with mental illness into treatment rather than jail, aimed at reducing overcrowding and costs. So what Governor Evers is exploring is organizing prisons, possibly closing old facilities like Green Bay Correctional Institution, and reallocating resources. Yeah, we was talking about that. Yeah, I was talking about that with some people saying it should have been closed. That and a couple other ones. I think Waupon is one they mentioned as well. Yeah. And a lot of that is too, additional concerns. Another concern has been staffing. With that's been a shortage across Department of Corrections in Wisconsin. State prisons struggle to retain officers.
Of course.
And even with the pay increases due to the grueling work environment. So that's been something that's been mentioned.
Because that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you think about you taking somebody size you take somebody that's muscle and he 6'7", and you walking him to
and he trained
and
every day. He working out.
Do something to you.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean,
yeah.
If you got somebody that big, it should be more than one person to take you to where you got to go.
Yeah, you especially for the guys that's locked up and that's trained, and then you got these young small town Wisconsinites, to say the least, working with a dude that's 6'4", 280 from off of Atkinson.
I wonder
like
for a security guy like that. I mean to cut y'all.
No, you get it.
Well, when they wake up every day, okay, is I'm gonna get into something today. I know that be on their mind. So or
yeah. I mean, especially if you work in a unit when you dealing with high problematic or criminals that are in a space of, like they said, I mean, go back into it. They say 42% of incarcerated men have been diagnosed with mental illness. That's the diagnosed ones. Just imagine if you know how to manipulate a test, or you know how to, this is, I mean, that's, it's undiagnosed, and the percentage of undiagnosed, we don't know, it could be anywhere from 2 to 10%. So that rate could be, or that percentage rate could be higher than what's on this paper. So so you just don't know when you in that space. But again, that's somewhere where we need more training, more informed, or people that want to work in this space that can handle being in this space, because it's people that work in these spaces or do want to be in these spaces. I got associates that I know now that go into prisons and do
Want to work in the space is because it's hard for them to try to get help to help these people out, or they can't find no help like that.
Who's that? Which one is that?
The work in these the spaces you were just talking about.
You said for the people that work in these spaces?
Yeah.
You said
what you just said about the way you said, like they can't, like there's no help, like there's not enough help.
Oh, you talking about from inside the prisons? Yeah.
Right. I mean, what you just said.
Do I think it's more? Do I think more? You kind of lost me a little bit.
Is there enough help? You said there's not enough help.
Yeah, they said. There's a staffing shortages. Well, they got to make it more enticing.
Okay.
That would be the biggest thing. Make it more enticing. They said that, with the pay increases, you got to find something else. You probably, you're gonna have to double up some way. I mean, a lot of people don't want to work in that space, but you have to figure out something. Or I mean, what's the other option? Release prisoners.
Most likely.
Yeah. We got some ROTC cuts at UW campuses. So the Army will cease ROTC programs at 2 universities of Wisconsin campuses, impacting leadership and career pathways for students, including many from the Milwaukee area region. So some of those programs will be getting cut. I know a lot of students sign up.
ROTC, they couldn't.
Yeah.
This is bad.
So that was some of the updates from some of the local political information regarding the bill. Sliding back into some of the other articles, I am going to speak about yesterday too. I went to the Community and Wellness Office of Community and Wellness Safety event, and we'll talk about that. But before I get to that, we do have a few more things going on the Milwaukee end that I think is important. And so we got some transit system information. So, some contracts and talks, and, everybody rides. We know somebody that rides, local transit somewhere here. So what's going on is July 18th, 91% of the ATU local 998 members voted no on a 1-year contract proposal, opting for a stronger 3-year deal instead. The union has had strike authorization since July 9th, when 98% voted to strike for negotiations. It stalled according to the World Socialist website, CBS 58. Security first, key issues, pay, security, and budget. Looking at the security, after this past week, we did see a 70-year-old driver was assaulted amid a fair dispute. Operators are demanding for stronger protection, including permanent security presence, something the proposed contract didn't guarantee. Now, I agree with that. And y'all can let me know how y'all feel with that too. 414-444-5253. Should Milwaukee County Transit System have permanent security on site? I thought that was the thing that they had. What happened with the security that they had? That was the ones that rode the bus. If you've done that job, call in too as well. If you know somebody that done it, I thought they had people that got on the bus already.
They did.
Every ride.
Yeah, right, you on? Can we hear you? Yeah, come on, man. You got to get on, B.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, you got a mic on?
Hold on.
Hold on. He's gonna turn you on real quick.
All right, go, B.
We want you to talk. There you go.
They be having security, but it just don't be on every ride.
I'm trying to.
You ain't on yet.
Hold on, B. I got it. Okay. Nope.
Okay, you have to come.
I'll come back.
Okay, we'll come back to you. What B said, they be having security that they don't be on every ride. Yeah. So what is that? Was that just because of? I'm guessing that's because it was a funding situation with that. Were you was that something that they had when you were on the bus?
Yeah, when I was in high school, probably.
Yeah, there you go.
8 years ago, 10 years ago, I was in high school. It was definitely security on the bus.
Yeah. So what was it like when you had the security on the bus? Was it, for you being the person that rode it? Because I didn't ride the city bus that much, but at the time when I did, they didn't have security on there when I was going to MATC. But what was it? Was the energy different with the security on the bus?
They got security everywhere. The energy don't be no different nowhere. So they'll help the bus driver if something happen for sure, or they'll try to calm down situations or
Yeah.
prevent them from happening, but it's only so much security can do.
Right. And they usually work with like two security guards, don't they?
Yeah, it usually be too.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I remember a time when I was catching the bus that we, like you said, I don't ever remember seeing any security guards uh, when I used to ride the 62 or the 12 or the 21. Like it was no security guards. Times are most definitely changing.
Yeah.
Um, I know I did see on the news that the young man that had spoke to a young man on the city bus and he ended up shooting him for no reason.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's like now I can see why there's armed security guards on the city buses now. But yeah, that's something new, man. Because again, when we was growing up, we didn't see that.
Yeah, it was just a change, and I, I don't know if you want to say it was. Uh, who knows?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really what to say, but there was no respect. I mean, you start to see it. I think it was always action on the buses from
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
all the school stops
yeah,
and bus stops. I remember when I used to ride past Madison
yeah.
when I was younger. I used to ride past Madison when I got out of school. Madison High School used their bus stop used to be
Cracking.
lit.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, that was when I seen the most. Yeah, right there on Flores, because I used to always have to go that route for some reason. And man, that bus route, and then too, I mean, just over the years, I remember just seeing things. But I think over time, it's just things got out more out of hand, and like you said, just how to change with everywhere else. With the just the uptick in whether it's some type of fights and crowds and assaults and you start seeing it start trickling into our systems like Milwaukee County bus or some of the public places we don't want to see. I don't want to get on. You got to take the bus. You got people of all ages that get on the bus. They don't want to be seeing these teenagers. That's I agree with having a security, and it definitely should be in a budget. Of course, yeah, it definitely should be in the budget. So, that said, they said that wasn't guaranteed. So, as far as MCTS is facing $11 million deficit, forcing it to consider outing 20,000 hours of service this fall, especially on non-peak routes and Saturdays. Then the leadership shakeup has been some high turnover in Milwaukee County Transit System leadership, including the CEO, transit director, has added uncertainty amid the budget crisis. It's a little bit of that. So we got some talk, and the reason why this matters, and just before I get into that, starting August 24th, MCTS will reduce weekday, midday, and Saturday service by around 20,000 hours. Though no routes will be eliminated. So no routes eliminated, but they are eliminating hours on the routes. So you're going to see less time on those routes. The federal help, they just said $21 million grant will support upgrades on the Purple Line bus rapid transit corridor stretching into suburban communities. That right there in itself, so stretching into suburban communities, a $21 million one. So, yeah, I would love to hear some of the comments on that. I would love to hear some of the community comments on that one. Funding gap looms while MCTS plans to use pandemic era federal funds to fill its 2025 gap. A structural deficit of 12 to 18 million threatens 2026 without additional revenue or savings. And why does this matter to you folks out there in Milwaukee land? Reduced service means longer waits midday and weekend trips. If you're heading to work, school, or appointments, permit extra time for my riders, drivers, and staff. Security concerns remain urgent. Without protective measures, staff morale and retention may suffer. And we can see that before in other cases and other strikes and layoffs across the country. Local economy service cuts affect access to jobs, healthcare, shopping, and transit equity in lower income and suburban areas. And then it's budget oversight. County officials have launched an audit to understand how Milwaukee County transit system reached such a gap and assesses leadership transition. So that's a little bit update about Milwaukee County and what's going on that tip. If y'all got any questions, comments, concerns, please call in. We would love to hear about y'all. Hey, did y'all hear this yesterday? Amid all the Epstein drama, before I get to some Milwaukee stuff that is important, We want to unpack a significant development in U.S. history. The federal government released over 230,000 pages of long sealed documents to about or related to Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination. As y'all know, these files were previously was supposed to be released or scheduled to be released in 2027, were made public yesterday, July 21st, 2025. So what's in the files for the ones that may not know, just a refreshing for my people. I know some of us have different speculations and views of what happened to Dr. King, but yesterday the release includes internal FBI memos, CIA communications, and investigative leads involving James Earl Ray, who was convicted of the assassination but later recanted. And I would like to somewhere in the mix, I'm gonna pull up what Dr. Bernice King said yesterday too as well. But about 6,000 files have been newly digitized and made searchable for researchers. The wiretap recordings remain sealed. So they have kept the wiretap sealed. So they trying to, they don't want folks to know. You can read some of it, but the wiretaps, I mean, the wiretaps is what really is some of the heavy stuff. These materials shed light on FBI's extensive surveillance at part of the COINTEL probe, which lasted for years, where it pretty much dismantled the black community all across the United States, which was directed under J. Edgar Hoover from 63 to 68, aimed at neutralizing Dr. King through wiretaps and discredited campaigns. The release was ordered by President Trump, and it was carried out by the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, in partnership with the DOJ, CIA, FBI, and National Archives. Dr. King's family and Southern Christian Leadership Conference expressed concern, and I did want to read something. Let's see if I can pull it up that Miss Dr. King's family said yesterday. I've seen it yesterday when I was actually on Instagram, and Dr. King's family, of course, had some concerns and already knew a lot of information about that. And I think for some people, especially if you're not a big history buff, and you just you pay attention to, oh yeah, it was just James or Ray, and that's what a lot of folks really go off of. But it's obvious that it was a lot of entities that played a part, and uh, in Dr. King's passing. And I know yesterday something was released. I don't know how quick I could pull it up. I'm definitely gonna find it. But it talked about how she felt about yesterday and the release of of the of the information, or that she's seen. But I'll find it. But yesterday they were saying they were urging the public to approach the documents with respect and empathy, citing the traumatic impact of government surveillance. So they're aware, of course. They were going to be aware of this, and a lot of people were concerned because of the timing of this, aligned with other things that's going on. Yeah, and I think that a lot of folks were more interested in another set of documents being released. So if I can find what she said, I'll definitely read it. But it was pretty deep. I thought it needed to be said yesterday, and it showed that their family, you know, is still dealing with this on another level. It's been years later, but
Yeah, I mean,
that was an extensive hit to not just the King family, but to the nation.
yeah. I remember my mama crying that day
Yeah,
that happened.
yeah. And it's open, and what it does is not it opens a lot of wounds, and it's too much of a distraction at this time. But she said, as the children of Dr. King and Miss Coretta Scott King, his tragic death has been intensely personal grief, a devastating loss for his wife, children, and granddaughter he never met. An absence our family has endured for over 57 years. Um, we ask those who engage with the release of these files to do so with empathy, restraint, respect for our family's continuing grief. They also repeated the family's long held contention that James L. Ray, the man convicted of assassinating King, was not solely responsible if at all. Bernice was 5 years old when her father was killed. Martin III was 10. President Trump promised as a candidate to release files related to President John F. Kennedy's assassination when Trump took office. When Trump took office in January, he signed the executive order to declassify the JFK records, along with along with those associated with associated with Robert F. Kennedy's and King's 1968 assassination. So that came out. Yeah, go ahead.
Can they get when they release files? You think they should be able to go to the family, ask if they release the file, or they just can release when they want to?
Since they're the federal government, I'm sure they don't. In
So
this
they
this
don't even think about
administration,
what the
and you got to
family
think about
feel.
this administration too.
Yeah.
It's so I'm sure this administration is just they haven't shown too much. I guess the empathy in a lot of spaces.
Right.
So I wouldn't suggest I wouldn't believe that they were trying to do that.
believe
Would care about that.
the family was aware. They was aware and they were against
Yeah,
it, and they still
yeah.
released it.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
so,
publicly it said that they were gonna know about it. Yeah, you said they knew already privately.
they were
Yeah.
so
Okay.
they do let you know before family knows before that time.
Yeah. So well, they should. I mean, it's a respectful thing to do. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and come back, wrap it up with guess we're gonna take a break. Y'all wanna knock the break out? Radio. We're gonna wrap up, talk about some more Milwaukee topics, a little bit closer to the community. Then we'll just close out. If y'all got any questions, comments, concerns, anything else, you got 414-444-223. We'll be right back. Voice Radio, we are back. All right, y'all, again. Hopefully, y'all having a great morning, great ride, wherever you at across the city. Thanks for listening to us. Wisconsin Voices, Bryan Sanders here, community outreach organizer. So, yesterday, our city took a meaningful step towards restoring leadership in community and wellness. At South Division High School, it was the start of the forum. So, we heard directly from three finalists and for director for the Office of Community Wellness and Safety. We can do a little bit of unpacking before we get up out of here to what each candidate brought to the table. So, yeah, candidate one, which was Paul Callahan. Now he's from Louisville. The thing about Paul, his key message was building coalitions across sectors. Callahan, I hope I'm saying this right, like Callahan, emphasized the need to work with city agencies, nonprofits, community leaders, and residents, and saying we have to build that coalition, that infrastructure that can ensure gun violence is that infrastructure that can ensure that gun violence is dealt with the city, end quote. Why does this resonate with us? He brings a collaborative model from Louisville focused on sharing data, aligning efforts, and sustaining trust across neighborhoods. So that was he was the first. Again, he spoke for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then after he spoke, they did a 15-minute Q&A from the crowd. You were able to go in there. I would say if you are interested, they're doing this tonight, and just to kind of give you the address where you need to be at, that'd be at North Division High School. I'm sure y'all know where North Division at, but if you don't, 1011 West Center. Tuesday, July 22nd, which is today. It will be going from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you are interested in going to talk to the candidates for the Office of Community Wellness and Safety Director, please pull up. Candidate number two was local Milwaukeean and an individual that is currently in the Milwaukee interim director for the Office of Community Wellness and Safety for the city of Milwaukee. Acting with urgency is based on lived experience. So she did mention how she is a survivor who she's a Milwaukee native and a survivor due to gun violence and hit and runs that she has shared. She's quoted to say, "We've got to get people to we've got to get to people prior to them making that next move." I know the importance of that. And she says she moves with urgency. She made emphasis how she is out there in the community and how she's working with these partners and organizations, individuals like bond maids and organizations that she does partner with internally with the Office of Community Wellness and Safety. While this stands out for her personal journey, losing both her father and son drives a deep commitment to early intervention, rapid response, and survivor-centered leadership. So that would be Karen Tyler, who is currently the Milwaukee interim director for the Office of Community Wellness and Safety. Number three, you had Abraham Morris. He's from Orlando, currently working in Orlando. He is a Wisconsin native, and I also do have their resumes here with me too. If y'all, are interested in hearing about that, we could talk a little bit about that next week as well. But I did bring their resumes from the event. And all of them have extensive backgrounds and they're pretty detailed. As you can see, if you look on the camera, I have all their resumes right here discussing their experience. They had these out and they'll have these tonight when you go up there and go to the forum. But they all have extensive backgrounds in their work, and it seems like they are passionate about their work and changing the community. We as far as the key message is focused on representative leadership from impacted communities, as far as what Abraham has stated. And he says, we see the same trend over and over again. We really have more in common than we do. And he was referring to Orlando, how they were able to shift the crime and save not only, he talked about how much a shooting costs about over $800,000 plus with the result of a shooting and everything that happened at the scene of a shooting, et cetera, et cetera. So he was saying that they were able to save and cut from violent crimes over not over $80 million just by saving from shootings that they have. And so his focus is just seemed like it was getting to the root of things. So Morris brings strong roots in Wisconsin. He's emphasizing hiring from within, so that's his thing. I did hear him mention about making sure that the people that are working on the ground are compensated as well, and he also ensuring the team reflects the experiences from those affected by the violence. which some of the themes that we did get across from the forum, that violent prevention for all three candidates. They stressed the importance of proactive, community-rooted strategies, including mediation, street outreach, and trauma-informed support. Partnership and healing is another big thing. Forum candidates underscored the need for bridging gaps between city government, grassroots, hospitals, schools, fostering resilience, and public trust was important, and accountability. Community voices were clear. People did come out and speak. So shout out to the organizations and people that were across, across the auditorium that spoke. I see folks from multiple organizations that were in the building last night. This director must be visible, which you have to be working in this space, accessible and responsive to neighborhoods experiencing the heaviest burden of life. We'll be bringing back more and other things about this position next week. And get anybody to come in and speak more about it, we definitely will. Again, we want to thank you all for listening to me solo today. Shout out to the council voices, everybody at the organization. We'll be back next week with more topics and things that matter to you the most. Bryan Sanders, take care.